things we use today were around a century ago? Not many. Then why are we using educational practices that were developed almost as long ago? To remind you guys of my research, I've been investigating the practice of ability grouping in schools. There's a lot of controversy on the issue, like I talked about last time. One of the main arguments for ability grouping is this idea that it allows different levels of achievers to be given what they need, the appropriate amount of challenge and stimulation for their ability level. In my research, I've come across a lot more evidence for the case against ability grouping. One of the problems is this idea that ability grouping allows for social stratification in education. In other words, the groups on top remain there, and those on the bottom are kept there. Another thing I kind of touched on last time was this idea that school administrators and officials and teachers have very different views of these ability groups. They give a lot of positive feedback and have great views of the high achieving group, but kind of view the lower achieving group as inferior. If the students pick up on this, the effects are disastrous. A study by Gammeren found that those students in the low achieving group are far less likely to go on to college than their peers in the high achieving group. This is obviously a problem. One of the reasons is simply this negative view held of them. But another reason, few of their peers are going on to college. They're focused on vocational tracks, or frankly, a lot of them end up dropping out and struggling through life. Another main point in implementing ability grouping was the hope that it would increase achievement levels in all groups. Some argue that being in a homogeneous setting, surrounded by those of similar intellect, would allow for more engagement and higher achievement. However, there is a study in which Slavin analyzed 29 different studies that were conducted on this phenomenon. He came to one conclusion. Ability grouping has no discernible effect on ability grouping. Zero. If this is the case, if one of our main reasons for implementing ability grouping has been proven wrong time and again, why do we continue with the practice? In my research, I've come across a really remarkable program called AVID. AVID's take on education is radically different from ability grouping. AVID, they identify the students in academic middle or below, and they take them in. They are given support, but are also challenged. In fact, one of the requirements of being in the program is that all students are required to enroll in at least one advanced class that their school offers. So students aren't given the opportunity to just engage. The results of the program are astounding. AVID reports that of the 33,204 seniors of the class of 2012 that were enrolled in the program, 98% would be graduating on time with their class. Of this 98%, 90% would be going on to college. The fact that AVID seniors are going on to college at a rate so much higher than their peers in low achieving ability groups is frankly amazing. Obviously, AVID is doing something right, and we need to figure out what it is. The conclusion to be drawn here is simple. It's time for change. We need to find a better way to educate our students. Programs like AVID are pioneering new methods. Schools need to take note. Regardless of what the actual solution to our educational woes is, the only way to find it is to abandon ability grouping and find a new method. If we fail to do so, who knows what will happen for millions of American students. Thank you.
Thank you, Steph.